What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. Let's dive into crankbait fishing. This is the time of year where a crankbait really might be the only thing some days you can catch a bass on. And I live on a crankbait lake. Lake Guntersville has been historically known for winning tournaments on crankbaits, so I've gotten some really good schooling in the last 10 years living here. I'm going to give you my shallow cranking setup, what makes a good shallow crankbait, what makes a good medium diving crankbait, and how to pick the correct color and keep it simple, not only to help you catch more fish, but also save you some money at the end of the day. So the first thing, shallow cranking, that is all about durability, a bill that won't break. You're going to be cranking this around rocks, you're going to be cranking this around trees, and you need something that you can put in the same place that you can put a spinner bait or your flipping baits, and you don't want it to break. You don't want to be fooling with baits that just are coming apart. And again, you're going to be throwing this around docks. You're going to be hitting this, so you need something that can withstand the abuse you're going to put it through. So for that reason, I pick a crankbait that I know is going to be around. If I got to go buy 20 more, I know the company's going to be there. So I go with the Strike King 1.5. Durability, this bill can go through pretty much anything. I've had this bait since 2011, so I'm sure I've banged it on plenty of bridges, docks. I've ran it through rocks and sticks and trees and stumps, and this thing is held up great. So there it is. You just need a bait that is durable when it comes to square bill cranking. Now I've got another one. This is by a company that I'm not sure is around anymore, and you got to think about some of the legalities that go into fishing. A lot of these baits do look very similar. This is a company that isn't around. There is a bait that looks just like this that is still being made by a different company. So those molds, the factories, the companies, they change, they get bought. Things are always changing in the fishing industry. And if your favorite bait gets bought by a different company and then they stop making it the way that you've always, the one that you've always fished, that can become an issue. So I try to stick with the ones that I know are going to be around. I don't have to be worried about it going out of business or getting sued and going under. So for that reason, that's what square bills are for me. I can go buy one when I need to, and I know it will be good for 12 years. Medium diving crankbaits like this DT6 is a little bit different. I don't crank this bait around as much wood and rocks. I'm not casting it up around docks and around, I'm not putting it in those places where I might break the bill, or, this is a wooden bait, so they break a lot different, in a lot of different places that they wouldn't necessarily on a square bill. And it's a much vulnerable bait. Now, if you can see, one of these is the one that I always throw in the tournament. You can see that hook rash. There's a lot of teeth marks and stuff on that bait. This is the one I throw in the tournament. This is the one that I'm going to throw in the tournament. Now, these two are the ones that I'm going to practice with. I'm going to fun fish with. The reason for that is wooden crankbaits, especially once you get into more of those medium diving crankbaits, they don't always run true. You've got to tune them. You've got to mess with them. You've got to take that little metal piece, some pliers, and you got to bend it and get it to run true. And you don't want to bend it too much because then you're going to break it. So this is the one that gets tied on during the tournament. And I use the other ones because I probably have to fool with them a little bit more. Not all of those are going to come out the exact same way. You're going to have one that runs perfect every time. You don't ever have to tune it. And then you're going to have ones that you're constantly fooling with. And maybe you get it one day, and then the next time you fish with it, it's off again. And that's just wooden crankbaits. That's just how that is. So when it comes to that, it's all about consistency for me. I'm still picking companies that I think are going to be around. Typically the ones that are going to be around are the ones that are making really good baits. So that is medium diving crankbaits and those wooden baits, consistency. Now the last thing I like to do is pick pretty similar colors. I don't get too crazy with my reds. I don't get too crazy with my perch and all these different colors. I like a pearl white, something that's going to show up in that muddier water. I like a chartreuse that's going to show up in any type of dirty, stained, off-color water. I like the oranges. that mimic crawdads really good and is just a great color in that muddier water. And then I like the reds with the orange bellies. So I think you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. And this is a 2.5, a 2.0, a 1.5, and a 1.0, and they're all the exact same color. So if I'm getting bit on this bait and I want to go up and down in size, I can, and I don't have to worry about a little difference in a color messing with my head. Most of the time, it's not going to make a difference. But for me, I'm winding around for a couple hours without getting a bite. I'm going to start thinking, was that, shiny orange the reason why I'm not getting a bite? This crankbait's different than the other one I was catching them on. So I keep my colors very, very simple and buy all my square bills in those 4 colors. So that is cranking for me: consistency, durability, and then simplicity. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the water.